Ecliptic, Love's Circle Persona, Self-Love, Best Love, World Love. You knows my honor. Greetings. That be your host, JaMes Peter Bastien. In peace, prosperity, power. It's my honor to share my affirmations, visualizations, and unisons manifestation and all satisfactions. The mind, body, and soul is to grow in all facets. Presented in procreation, this is MBT podcast show. May you be at peace in whatever the action is proclaiming, ascending the greatest of all satisfaction like your goals a bullseye, your actions the dart, believe in you no matter the ending or the start for your life. Such precious life, must you claim it. Portal Connective. Truths in that perspective. Living fully so I won't regret this. Life of mine reminds that I, birth and purpose which are solely divine. Align with the visuals of thy mind, seeing is achieving for all that can see or utilize internal vision. When the outer's blind, the rescue to my search, balance is hard to find. Where is distance to measure if moments and changes are inevitable and forever? However, perspective of joy and pain is on each individual. Egotistically, my flesh bows down to thy spirit. If the outer noise don't bring comprehension, silence is felt. I simply don't want to hear it. A ring to a hole is a stigma in life. The hard time we go through is not to stop, but to penetrate our causes from the pressure effects of whatever neglect for self-respect. You gotta pierce it. It is to be whatever you love such to become. God's green earth is how the spiritual bodies summons where they're from. That will be done to where my kingdom come. Namaste. A peaceful location set in the middle of thine heart. Ending to complete my mission, I see my finish before I start. A roller in life's gamble whose dealings cards remind me it's my hand. Remain accountable in all facets and never give control to my heart. Who made me and birth are two separate entities. Balance in triology. Must study the mind, body, and soul frequencies. Self-love is best love. United together makes world love. And better tendencies, JaMes Peter Bastien. Connective. In time, by people, places, and things, I'm reminded of this connection that I have with the universe. The spirit of mind, which is divine, doesn't answer to the flesh, the body. It's not subjugated to what the mind knows. By people, placing and things, the spirit is confined to meaningful purpose, perpetuity and action, perpetuity and thoughts. Being able to affirm, visualize, and manifest such is the identity that the spirits have, in the connection with this portal. So for a while in my lifetime, I think for every for every creative aspect that comes into me, whether it's through literature, whether it's through artsmanship, whether like drawing, thinking of new ideas, things of that nature. I found for most people that most people feel that they are the ideas, that they are the actual thought. But to be transparent with you, I was maybe teen years once I realized, like, yo, like for example, they say they have a terminology in America which is called the gift of gab, right? Somebody being able to speak well or always having the right thing to say, whatever that may mean to that person, right? So this was something I had early, 12, 13, but it was not something I didn't pick up from anyone, right? It was not something of me being a scholar that I was, an incredible kid. I was an honorable student, and that propelled me to have an extensive vocabulary. So for me, like saying compulsive liar in middle school, but not knowing what compulsive mean, right? Those were some of my beginning circumstances of, my mind. I would say my spirit reminded my mind and body that among time from people, places, and things, there's going to be things that I'm just going to be reminding to myself. A lot of time, I think for most people, education confines into the idealization that they were provided some sort of knowledge or some intellect amongst how something is done or said, and that pretty much provoked them to have that ability once that experience was given by that surrounding education. And I won't say that is no different for me. I think the extensive idealization for me is that okay, even for example, like this would be a beautiful big example to be transparent. So I'm born in America, right? Initially, I'm a born American citizen, right? But my birth parents both are um, originally birthed in the country of Haiti, known in America as Haiti, right? So at the time of my birth, from my understanding, was about 6 months after my birth. These two, as being my biological father and mother, separated to where the biological father moved to a different state up in Georgia, and my biological mother was still down here in Florida. And from what he subjugated to me was that he wanted to be in my life but not have that relationship with my mother. And from that circumstance, she found that to be disrespectful. So, out of spite, from what he stated was that I was sent to Haiti. Pretty much got me stuck there for 8 years. I'm not gonna go on the whole tangent among that story, but I brought that story up to say, so even for me, so yeah, this was I was born in America at 6 months old. I would say I moved. I won't say I got trapped because trap is a bad word. I moved to IET and was there till I was 8 years old. So coming back to America, the language barrier, of course, was something that I experienced. But realistically, for me, even for example, like I was telling you, was sometime I'm reminded by people, places, and things, whether it's my extensive vocabulary, whether it's my comprehension of how something is to be done, or me knowing something without me experiencing it in the first hand by this flesh experience. It was somewhat of the same situation for me, where to be transparent, like the accent stage, the inability to not comprehend English. I don't. I seriously, honestly don't know, guys, if I actually literally went over 7 days with these issues. Um, Maybe the first or second day, I literally called, which is my boy Gary, my cousin, where he was like quizzing me, like, "All right, you gotta learn the days of the week. You gotta learn the numbers. Like this, how you say Monday." I'm like Monday. He's like, "Say Tuesday." I'm like Tuesday, and I don't know. It's the weirdest thing because I remember having maybe that accent for a couple days. For like literally, I don't even think it went through a week. Like the transitional stage of like having hardship with like being incapable to comprehend the language. Like I remember my first week or maybe the first days of school was tough because I literally remember my first day I cried from school bell opening to school bell ending. You know what I'm saying? But in all, the transitional state for me was not as difficult or what how it may be seen because like for most of the time, me being a chameleon, me being an observer, allowed me to, or at least me not knowing that I was doing at that time, I was observing and watching other kids, and for me, that's how I'm able to comprehend. Because emotions are emotions, laughter is laughter. Sad, so being able to read if somebody's angry, sad, happy, I think it's all facial, right? It's all energy. Obviously, with communication, it comes to the specific ideas that you want to communicate about, right? I may not speak the same exact language as a Japanese guy or Russian guy, whatever, right? But if we can point, we can make certain different gestures that make us understand as we all are part of the human race. So, with me making that last statement, being a part of the human race, I'm aware I'm a portal. You know what I'm saying? And I'm aware that everybody may not see themselves as that. And for whatever their reason may be, is their reason. The reason why I could tell you I'm a portal is like I was telling you, like from I truly believe from every aspect of me, when it comes to my frame, my body frame, right? So a lot of time, like especially if you're an athlete, it takes into this idealization that you are that, right? Like you are that body. If you think about it, if you're somebody physically gifted, talented, like any football player, any basketball player, right? Whether the basketball player has athletic freakish ability with size and jumping, whatever, right? The football player maybe his muscular definition, speed, whatever, right? A lot of time, it's easy for us as we are in the flesh to be like, this is me, I am that. And obviously, I am as my body. I'm not denouncing my body, but what I mean by that is that before my body and mind, I wholeheartedly cater to my spirit. You know what I mean? I bow down to my spirit from the virtue of you are the unseen. You are the power that bestowed me from when I don't know where when I have uncertainty, where when I'm indecisive in my own way. I believe my spirit is the true higher power, right? It is the connection that I have with the universe, with God, however you want to implement God, as whether you see it as a religious entity or you see God in nature. So for me, I have that ability to know that because, like I was giving the examples of the thought process I have, my poetic ways, my musical ways, my physical ways, my interest in running and things like that. I know obviously it's incorporated with my mind and body, but and what's meant to be and and also what's written to be done, that to me is all spiritual. Um, I look at actions as to be spiritual. You know what I'm saying? It's every action, every thought process is as spiritual as it is mindful or as it is uh, or as it is confined by flesh. I think with flesh we it's something that we as souls, as minds, we're connected a lot more, right? So if you think about the three entities of discussing what makes a human, the mind, body, and soul, the body itself is like, for most people, 90 if not 99% of what they see, feel, hear, right? So when the spirit shows you the unknown, when your mind galvanizes thoughts or ideas that you question, it's a lot more to solidify yourself with. Does that make sense with reality? Does anybody else think like that? Right? Because the body, the flesh the flesh is here to keep you grounded in a way. It keeps to remind you that you're set on limitation. To remind you that there's certain things that can be done and certain things that's acceptable, that's not acceptable. The body itself is here for those laws, right? So the spirit itself and the mind, depending on the shape of the mind, is here to break. Not necessarily, I won't say the term break the law, but to define the laws into to the code of ethic that makes sense for his or hers own lifestyle, right? So as we think, the body itself is literally like a reproduction cell confining these thoughts as if what is good is what is bad. And normally that good and bad is shaped based upon our upraising, based upon our surroundings says the do's and don'ts, right? So for most of us, having that ability to confine your energy into the portal, right? Finding yourself into that higher realm, it brings more scarcity than it brings more comfort, right? So for most of us, even if we are connected to the portal, it's a scarcity to say no, I'm not, or it's a scarcity to not want to be you, right? Because it's one of those ideas like I'm the only one that could see these things or feel these things or uh, console in certain different thoughts, right? And once you find yourself either the term one of one or limited to be able to have your experience understood by others, you naturally put yourself in that portal in a hidden position, in a position where you feel like this is not good for me, right? Because you feel like either you're what's the term weird, you feel like you're left out, right? Right, the black child, redheaded stepchild, the black child of the family, right? So many terminology for us in this society when we want to say that somebody's different, or when we want to say to ourselves that we're different. But realistically, there's nothing new under the sun, right? And really, what the beautiful thing about life is the differences. The differences is what makes us as beautiful as we can be in life, right? There's men out there, there's men and women out there exploring the ground floors of Earth, right? There's men and women out there loving the idealization of soil, Earth. There's men and women flying to the higher atmosphere of the sky. So we all here having impact, right? And truly, the impact is not limited to what our society says to do, but really the impact is limited to what we feel we can accomplish in our society. And for most of our accomplishment, well, let me speak for myself. I believe internal accomplishment is the best successful accomplishment. The reason why I say that because success itself, when you think about that terminology itself, to succeed in something, it normally it normally implements something being complemented. I'm sorry, being completed in through the flesh realm, right? Whether success is something you can viably either feel, see, right? Either confine a certain steps level to it, have a visual look behind it. So when success becomes that defiant, it's hard for any human themselves connected with a portal to find that success, because if that success doesn't match or mirror something by flesh that they can compare to be good or not good, then truly that person themselves won't confine what is good or bad for them, right? Survival itself, for a lot of people, don't survival is just like the limited basic of getting something done or just finishing something, right? But majority of people don't know survival is one of the best success that you can have, right? Because you overcame. Although again, it's just like let's say you running a marathon. The average is 6 minutes to complete it. You complete it in 12. You succeeded, right? It could have been the craziest thing you ever did, right? Again, you may have the slowest time, but you survived. You succeed. Anything that you went through that you can actually look back in the idealization. And obviously, we're not speaking the idea of death, because death is something that there's no turning back from the physical flesh body, right? We can have many different diversion and conversation when it comes to the spirit and the mind of such flesh, dwelling into a different realm or maybe a different soul. So many of that can be differentiated based on your upbringing and knowledge of such. But once you dispersed by flesh, that spirit itself is detached, that mind is detached. So for most of us, the flesh is the power source to our life, right? So when the spirit is showing the unseen, when the mind is uh, calculating different variation, that doesn't seem to have a solution in sight of, it's hard for that spirit to actually confine that. I think the biggest key to my life is me embracing myself. Um, I have moments where the challenge is me attempting to speak better to myself, right? Um, Whether you've been through a certain situation and the time frame of that situation hasn't uh, garnished to how you would like such to be, sometimes it does, without knowing. Sometimes I'm naturally giving in to that feeling of like, damn, why me? Why? Like, and then it's like one of the things I'm learning through my portal and through my life is that the art of manipulation is not just of bad, but also of good, right? Having to tell yourself you feel good when you're not is not necessarily a lie and a deterioration of your own spirit to lie to your spirit, but really, realistically, it's the own self motivation of like, if I don't make myself feel better, how do I expect somebody else to feel better? And a lot of time, that's what I'm learning with the art of manipulation. It's not that you're lying to yourself in that regard. You're just sending a better energy frequency that's going to prepare you to where you want to be. And that for me is a lot more important rather than just um, doing things without meaning, right? Having meaningless action over time just gets old for me. So for me, I have an old soul in that idea because experiences for me should be things that will implement me in knowing how to do something better, or things that will showcase me growth in different facets. So if my experience is not a brand, it's not truly new. I really like to do the same thing over and over again, unless it's sacred energy or saying sex is just obviously that just I won't say it's an addiction or anything like that, but I would say it's just a norm factor of eating. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's eating. It's like showering. Sex to me is like the normacy of those things. So I can't, as much I would love currently, because I'm not unified with a partner. I would love that a lifetime partner, but you also gotta appreciate life for being a beautiful soul in the sense of like connecting with beautiful souls when you're meant to connect with them. You know what I'm saying? And keeping yourself cleansed in your own way, not just in a sexual way, but cleansing your thought process. You know what I'm saying? Cleansing your spirits based on the energy field that you keep your spirit around. You know what I mean? So being a portal, man, it's all about staying in tune, aligning myself with the righteous path, you know what I'm saying? Not the easy path, but the righteous path. And that comes through what you're known as trials and tribulation. That comes through hardship. That comes through what is called spiritual warfare, being battle tested. But if you love who you are, you know what I'm saying, the only route that's accessible for you to take is the route, you know, governed for you, only for you. And through the whole success of this conversation, That's what I confine myself in a lot of ways, is knowing that I'm a portal and not running away from that idea. Not being limited, not only for my surrounding, but to myself. Whatever your surrounding says your limitation is not what your limitation is. It only become as is if you believe such to be, you know? So for me, power be thy name, you know what I mean? In every facet of way. It's a beautiful weekend, wherever you are, in wherever you are in physics and life, by location. Just keep that same method of wherever you are in growth in life by progression, and that's inevitable. Whether the location, and I'm sorry, that's inevitable in regards to the current location that you are, and also is inevitable for the current status that you have, whether it's a great status or a low status. Both are inevitable for a change, right? So just keep yourself, as I'm telling myself, keep yourself in a propelling stage, like that you don't mind growing, that you're ready to grow, and that you're doing the things that's gonna immense for you that merge with your growth, right? We don't want to complain to life amongst that we're not getting help, we're not getting assistance, but our actions is not merging with those ability to actually grow in life, right? We don't want to be those people that's just like, why me, but the solutions, we're not acting upon none of those. So the best gift that one can give themselves is self love, and that's unconditional self love through being disciplined, right? Being dedicated to your time. And with that, allows you to give back the best love, not only to yourself, but obviously to your surrounding. Once you're able to do that, we then have that unified world love that we can tranquilize peace, prosperity, and unison of power together. You know what I'm saying? Because unity is power. With that being said, loving the time, loving your appreciation and dedication. I'm your humble host of the MB19 podcast show, JaMes Peter Bastien. Today episode titled Portal Connective was featured as the title as written this poetry not too long ago, and it was something that was just in my mind that just really awakened me, awakened me, awakened. I was gonna say awakening, but awakening didn't go with that. That awakened me to knowing who I am. In my thought process, I'm a very depth soul. My soul is vintage. My soul is an etymology studier. You know, the origin of things, the beginning of life. That's where my interest is. Because once you know that, I'm sure that could help you with the future. But between the past and the future, the best place to be is in the present. You know, so that's why I try to find myself and horse myself as to be the best version of myself, which is to be in the moment. And again, I thank you for your time and your appreciation and understanding. Again, this MB19 podcast show. Peace, prosperity, power, affirm, visualize, and visualize benefits. David, you're truly blessed. Peace.